Okay, so take two, part two. So now we're going to hand over to Ellen, who's going to tell us how to match up these frequencies and what they're best at, and all these products that we have been talking about, and how you can leverage your time and expertise. So Ellen, take it away.
Okay, so what I loved is you put them into three categories. You gave us self-study, you gave us group study, and you gave us the coach consultant higher end role. So self-study, what you talked about, which is so important, is it's static. And that's also a conversation I have with anyone who wants to create an e-course. I'm like, can you make sure that your work will teach itself, right? It is static. You are not involved. And so the frequencies that would lend themselves well to creating static products are metal, because they've got that brilliant attention to detail. Like they will be able to create a guide or an e-course or something. I mean, e-course you need to support. I think more and more, the farther I get into this e-course world, the more I'm really convinced you need someone who actually has a background in education to help you create the material. But in terms of having all, I know, like.
But you do. So can I just quickly, seriously, teaching adults is not rocket science, but there are certain things you need to know to make it effective. Adults are different to children. And if you are teaching based on the way you were taught in high school, then you are going to lose your audience. End of story. Ellen can, and there's easy ways for you to learn how to do this. It doesn't have to take you 4 years and a bachelor's degree. I've got short courses on this. Anyway, Ellen, keep going.
But I just saw that because e-course is on the static list. So metal is going to be really, really good at writing down all their thoughts and ideas, creating guides, creating how-to guides. Excellent for metal frequency. Also, wood and fire are going to be really good at teaching things and not being around. So wood is going to do a great job downloading everything. I did it this way, follow these steps. Wood in general, sort of their Achilles heel is they tend to think that because they did it one way, everyone can do it that way, which is not totally true, but also it makes them very good implementers for sharing their wisdom with the world, right? So it helps them share what they've already created. So woods generally create really good books or podcasts or having this library. They're good at just like downloading it and be like, go look at it. Because of, and fire is the same, although they're also going to have to partner with someone to help them take all their brilliance out of their brain, because fires like don't like to be constrained, right? So sitting down and writing something that can never be changed is probably going to feel a little bit oppressive to a fire. However, fires and wood will both get really annoyed if you ask the same questions over and over again, a la Maria earlier in this conversation sharing that. So having a resource guide or a library or a book where you can just be like, go read this, come talk to me when you want to play, and they can step up in that more coach consultant role where they're taking on a smaller number of higher end clients that lets them really be free to creatively express is going to be really, really important for them. So creating some sort of static materials is the thing that's going to let them do that. However, they're probably going to need a lot of hand-holding and nurturing to help them see that it's okay and that you can have different versions of things and you can write more guides when you have them. Like we're not carving anything in stone here. Because that idea of creating something really finite could be really hard for a fire frequency.
And I've got clients who have actually created decks of cards, board games. You know, it's not just e-course, book, article, podcast. There's so many different ways you can do that. And a lot of my clients who fit this description exactly are like, oh, well, I've got this one thing, but then there's another one for another. They've got so many different resources for different target markets or different groups of people who are going to be able to use things at different points in time, that they do end up creating this sort of sea of resources for different people. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful seeing them do that. They come to me going, I need to create an e-course because that's what all the cool kids are doing. And they walk out with this amazing sort of tool bag of things that they can use with people. And it's not an e-course at all. Like
it's creative learning and it's creative teaching, but it's something that you are not involved in doing. It's something you can say, here, go get this, here, go buy this, here, go do this. And that is going to be the key to that, because you, especially for fire, you're going to want a lot of freedom, you know, and that's going to be great with this because you're going to be able to download everything really clearly. And wood is like, here, take it. I'm on to the next thing. And I have to say, Danielle Laporte, if you follow her career at all, she writes a lot. She's very prolific. She creates a ton of material and she's off on the next thing. Like she doesn't spend a ton of time marinating in her stuff. Like all of the books she writes, all of the guides, all of the products she has are ways to get the content in front of people so that she can go off and do other things. And I think that's important to realize that that's part of, like, you need to look at the whole picture of a business, and you're like, oh, that's why she's doing it like this, right? She doesn't want to get trapped in these relationships. She doesn't want to have these same conversations for the next 10 years. She wants to be like, hey, I've got this. It's really good. It might help you. Take it if you want it. Leave it if you don't. I don't care. I'm going to go paint. I'm going to go start a book publishing company. Like, I'm going to go do all these other things that are like on her path, and she's going to keep doing that. I think that's an interesting just thing to see in people's businesses. Now, it's not to say that earth or water can't create self-study courses, but I think that their frequencies lend themselves ever stronger to the group study options, because earth people, which I feel so funny because we're all earth people, but earth frequency folks,
Earthlings,
form, I'm not an alien, and form really strong personal relationships with their clients. And what their clients actually want when they're hiring them is them, right? They don't want to say, hey, you fall in love with someone online. You're like, you're amazing, and I want to learn from you, and I want to work with you. And if you've got that earth energy, and then you try to shuffle someone off to a group, to a self-study course or a book, they're like, but I wanted you, and because that's what you're putting out there too. It's like you are getting what you have. So, and earth frequencies in general are really, really good at managing groups because they see everyone as these unique, beautiful butterflies. They're able to manage a group dynamic in a way that meets the needs of everybody. Whereas a metal frequency might be more like, this is how it's going to go, and I decided and it's happening, and be less able to dance in the moment. Or a wood person's going to be like, well, I told you what we're doing and we're doing it. Like, they're so implementing. It's a little bit hard for the touchy-feely stuff. Doesn't come up quite as much with wood. And earth frequencies need a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of that connection. And so in a group setting, it's going to play to their strengths, because you're going to be able to connect with people and love them and see them and nurture them, but then ultimately send them on their way, so that you're not getting caught in these long-term one-on-one relationships.
And can I just interject there as well? And this is something I found with a lot of my clients, and especially with me, and it took me a really long time to work it out. When you put me in front of a group of people, like in a workshop, in a face-to-face, I can touch you with, that group learning experience rarely falls flat, right? I don't know what magic it is that happens when I'm in a classroom with people. I love it. And people my students come out of the woodwork and find me on Facebook and go, I've never forgotten you. Your classes were amazing. We had so much fun. There's this magic that happens, and I love it, right? Like, and amp people up, and get people happening, and it works. When I was doing online groups, it was like crickets. I hated it. There was just something with the online version of group learning that never stuck. I mean, Janie.
So here's a really interesting. This is where the needle goes. Sorry, Huxley is being really fussy right now. Fire people, get energy from people, right? In person, like, you get energy from them, they get energy from you. And when there's an engagement, it's like it's just this synergistic bonfire thing that goes and goes and goes. And it's amazing. Online, you have to do a lot more hand holding. You have to do a lot more, like, you have to get more in their mind. You have to draw them out. It takes a different set of skills.
Right.
And that's where the earth person's going to be like, ooh, let me dive in. And where you're like, hello, wood and fire, you're like, I'm over this. Like, if you're not going to meet me,
right.
It's not with your time and energy. And I think that's a really interesting distinction between just how the different frequencies show up in different group types and how that works. And it's not to say every single earth frequency person is going to be dynamite at groups online, but it's that type of brain and heart that does a better job pulling people out of their shells in those moments. Whereas your fire tends to be more performance energy that in person, like, feeds you and feeds them. And online, it leads to a lot of people leaning back and being like, entertain me.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem with a lot of my clients. They're like, I am the bomb in front of people in a workshop. Why is this online shit not happening? And I'm like, I get it. It never worked for me. Like, I am a born entertainer and a storyteller, and I can have a group of people on fire within seconds. I can have a group of teenagers on fire within seconds. And that, I'm sorry, is a skill. A skill that took a long time to learn. But it's that, tap into people, get the reverse psychology happening, saying, you don't want to be here? There's the door, out. If you want to be here, we're going to have fun, we're going to learn. But if you're going to have that face, out. Okay, let's learn, and that's
not how it is online. That energy piece is not quite, it's not there. It's not there.
It's not.
It makes sense.
And so that's like a big, I guess not a warning, but like a big takeaway from this. Just because whatever you're doing works face to face does not necessarily mean it's going to just automatically translate to the online version of this offering.
Oh my God, yes.
And when you see this worksheet, I go through, self-study, group, personalized, and then I give you the online and the offline versions of all of these things. But it doesn't mean to say that because you've done it offline, it's going to work online, or because you've done it online, it's going to work offline. Like, one of my clients had a really cranking online group, and then she started doing face-to-face workshops, and it just didn't work. It fell flat. And again, it was this sort of scratching your head, like, but you're good at group work. Like, what's going on? Why is there not that?
There's slightly different skills. There's slightly different skills, and there's slightly different energy. And I think we do ourselves a disservice to assume that online and offline are the same thing. They're not, and I think we're coming into that awareness more and more. I think you see that sometimes every now and then. It's like you'll see someone who's got these online presence, online following, big tribe, and you meet them in person and you're like, okay, you know what I mean? And because you're like, if I met you in person, would I be as into this?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but the way that they're able to articulate their stuff online, for whatever reason, the distance, the space, the on their own time works better for them. So I just think it's important to just, yes, online and offline are not the same thing.
They're not. And even with me and my Facebook ads, like the girls that are helping me do that, they see me, they talk to me, they know me, and then they read my stuff, which I have employed copywriters. I haven't just done it all myself and done the cheap options. I have put down the money for the best copywriters there are to make this stuff work, to make the Facebook ad copy work, to make the, I've put the money down, and they just look at it all. They're like, you cannot get your energy into words. You've got to get on video. If you want us to do Facebook ads that are going to work for you and your content, you have got to get your face online. It is simple as that. And they just drew the line. They just stopped and went, we're not doing any more Facebook ads for you.
Because it's a waste of money.
Unless it involves a video.
That's the fire. So that's the fire frequency, right? Anyone who's got fire anywhere in their frequency, it's going to be video, because you can't capture that spark, but you can see it and you feel it. So I'm going to keep going here because I know that we're going to get kicked off at the next half hour, and I don't want this to be an hour and a half webinar.
But it's good conversations, right? I don't know. Janie, Avalon, is it resonating? Yep. Yeah. Let's a head thing. Any questions, like straight up? Because we're just like da 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 da.
No, it's really alive for me, actually, and because I've got a whole ton of resources, so it's like, and I have, hi Ellen.
Hi.
Together, and like I'm sort of in this transition. The year's been so massive, and it's like, okay, I've got all this stuff, so how to make that available still, because it's valuable stuff, but I just don't want to keep carrying it.
Yeah.
And then so I can move into the work that I'm really here to do, like, really nurturing and taking people really deeply in a different way, while still having the other stuff available for the ones who want it. So it's like having all different kind of ways of serving people that's not depleting from me.
Yeah.
It's not an uncommon story, Avalon, and this is what happens. You're a professional, you've got all these resources under your belt, you've given them all different ways, and it's a bit like me. I tried it in an e-course, tried it in an evergreen, tried it in a launch pattern, and just got to the point where I was like, oh, all right, I've got all this stuff. What do I do with it now? And you don't want to waste it because it's taken so long to create it. And it is some work. It's your body of work, right? So you and I can have a chat about that later if you like, Avalon, like how to actually turn all that into something else. But Ellen, continue on.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about water. So water frequency is really interesting because it's spacious and it's deep. And so when looking at these things, honestly, where water is going to shine the most is doing things in their own way, on their own terms. And that doesn't totally fit into any of these categories, except a little bit on the coach consultant side. As long as you're really carving out the terms and conditions of your clients that don't feel draining to you. So not doing month to month and sort of waiting to see if your client's going to renew, but saying, I work with my clients for 6 months. I work with them for a year. And then for water, putting yourself more forward as a contributor to the cultural conversations around your work, so that you're seen as a leader and as somebody that people sort of seek out your time and your energy and expertise. And this is a model that will work for all of the frequencies. But for water, your timing is so unique. And it is so your own, and you are able to shine the most when you're really doing things on your own terms. And one of the biggest ways that will give you the platform to do that is really putting yourself forward as leader, as visionary, as whatever the term for your industry is, healer, teacher, coach. They tend to work in these deep professions, because there's this depth to them. So the more you can put yourself out there in that way and have some of these pieces behind you, if you can get it, if you can, to shore it up, but work with someone, please. Some of my worst e-learning experiences have been reading either their books for their e-courses or even their group studies have been with water frequencies as the facilitators, because they wander, because for them, they're so expansive and they go where they want to go and they flow where they want to flow. But as a learning experience for your clients, that's really hard and that's really exhausting. So especially for all you water frequencies out there, like this is all entirely possible. And you're going to want to partner with someone who can help you articulate your vision and your brilliance in a way that other people are going to hear.
So would they be better off doing things like interview series or podcasts where there aren't necessarily specific learning outcomes, but there's more discussions that need to be had, and there's more.
And it helps make them seen as these visionary healers and learners, people who you're like, I can't quite explain what she does, but she's amazing, which is like everyone in this room, I feel like, and everyone who's listening in. Anything that you can sort of start to showcase that and help people connect with your energy. So they're like, oh, I know I need you. Oh, I need this. And a lot of the water frequencies that I know that are in business are really deep healers. So that's also hard to lend itself to the podcast circuit, but I think important, so the best advice I can give for waters is to really distill down like your mission. What is your mission? What are you here to do? So that when you go out and you do these interviews and you put yourself out there in ways that feel aligned to you, you have a consistency of talking points across all of your stuff. And that's advice for anyone. That's like business 101, right? But for water frequencies, it's going to be especially important because you have such a propensity to be over here for a little bit and then over here for a little bit and then some of this for a little bit, whereas the wood is going to be much more linear and metal is much more focused and earth is much more nurturing, and fire is like big. Water needs some containers for it to really get the traction that it needs.
Awesome. Janie, are you water? Yeah. Is this resonating? It's getting lots of big. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So with all of that, it's also going to be really important to pay attention to yourself and make sure you're not burning out, which I think is where this conversation is going, right? We've talked a lot about when you're doing one-on-one work consistently, it gets exhausting. And then you end up with this library, this career of expertise, and resources, and you want to make it user-friendly to your clients and you want to make it readily available to them. And part of that is going to be you messaging that. Part of it is you really having to take it. So here's what I see a lot of professionals do. They say, I have all these ways to work with me. Pick whatever works for you. And then the poor person is like, but I wanted to work with you because I don't know what I need, but I know you have it. You know what I mean? Like people come to us because they can't do whatever it is on their own. And so we need to take control. Like you have talked about a lot in this call, Maria, of saying, hey, if you need this, go here. If you need this, I have you. Go over here. You don't really need to spend the time and money to work with me until you're over here. And here are the things that are going to help you get there. And maybe you'll still hire me, but maybe you'll be good. But especially when you have these resources behind you, don't just do the thing where like, I have a million billion things. Good luck. Be clear, like grab the reins and guide your clients because they need that. They need your guidance. They wouldn't be coming to you without it.
This is such good advice. Like the first couple of years I was in business and I had good business coaches telling me exactly this, but I couldn't sift through what I wanted to be doing. So I was like, no, there has to be like workshop options and face-to-face and there has to be a community and there has to be this and there has to be that because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And it took 4 years pretty much to hone it down to this sort of, I guess, a recipe that works really well for me. And that is like, I can author stuff at a rate of knots and I am brilliant one-on-one. Now, if I get invited out to do group stuff, like I'm more than happy to do that. And I often get asked to come and do information sessions or be the guest speaker or whatever. And I just rock up, shine, go, woo, and love what I do. And I really get a lot of energy out of that. But it's not where I put my energy into trying to sell myself into group workshops. It's just, I'll be there. And it's almost like it's networking almost for me. It's almost like free advertising when I get asked to come and do stuff because I get to connect with people one-on-one. And I know that that's how I sell best is when I get to talk to people and really connect with people and really deal with them. And
feel your energy, which is just another advocate on the side of do Facebook ads with their videos.
Yeah, basically. So now it makes sense. After 4 years, I've distilled it all down and like all of those options are out of my website now. It's like use the library or work with me one-on-one. But if you don't know, just call me. Let's just have a chat. I'll tell you exactly what you need. And that's what happens. Like I have a lot of 15-minute chats with people. And it's great. Like
and that's a great example of really taking the reins, because what I also see here, so where I see people get caught is not knowing both what they need, like what's going to make them less crazy to put together, and then not knowing what they're like, not taking the time to think about what are your clients really going to buy. You know what I mean? Like, what do they need besides the like e-courses are sexy, I'll sell an e-course. Like, what do you need from me to get the learning that you need? And so this is where honestly, it doesn't need to take that long, but you do need to take it. It's like, okay, I have all of this content. Here's how I want to help people. Realistically, my clients, my beautiful butterfly flowers that you've been working with for so long, that's given you all of this time and helped you develop your expertise. What do they need?
You know how what I did? I called them.
Good.
My business coach said exactly that. You are going to burn yourself out doing all of this. Like, what do your clients actually want? What are they actually going to pay for? I'm like, oh, they'll pay for a workshop. They'll pay for a Facebook community. They'll pay for a mastermind. They'll pay for a retreat in Bali. They'll pay for it. And she's like, shh, call them, call all of them and ask them. Stop telling me you know what they want and call them. And you know what? I did. I set up 75 appointments in December of last year. Said, what do you actually want? Like, what are you doing next year? Okay. And now if you could work with me again, what would you want? And all of them said exactly the same thing. You know what it was? You.
Yep.
We just want you. We just want you when we need you one-on-one. I'm like, oh, right. So if I had my like learnings, like, you know, how to use 17 hats or how to do this, whatever, if I had that online, would you go and use that so you didn't have to spend the time with me one-on-one, not wasting, but using your one-on-one money that you're giving me? Would you do the study if I was pointing you exactly to the lesson that you needed before our next session? They were like, hell yeah, of course I would.
Yeah.
Okay. And I asked that same question to 75 people and about 98% of them said exactly the same thing. Yes. You on tap, your knowledge in a bank. Guess what?
Yeah. Now that's where you're at.
Yeah. Because it's what they want. It's what they paid for. And you know what? I didn't call any of the clients that did my head in. You know, there's clients that you work with and you're like, different people, like, you know, not going to be working with me next year. You don't call them. You don't care what they want because that working with them didn't bring you joy. I called the people that brought me joy. And what have they brought me? They've brought me a recipe for me and my skills that make sense for them. And
because they're seeing you on the outside, like both they're your clients and they're always going to have the best information to you and they can see what you can't, you know, because you spend all this time in your own head, in your own business, being like, everyone's doing this. There's a million billion ways. I should do a million billion things too, because I want to like keep up and like look good. And your clients have a front row seat to you and your genius and your brilliance.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the ones that are able to be like, hey, this is the thing, like get out of your own way, get out of your own head. And that's, I mean, I wish I could say that's specific to a frequency. I think there are some that lend themselves, but every frequency finds themselves in that moment of just like overwhelm. How did I get here? Where did I want to go? And how do I create something that my clients actually want, not just my really good idea? And every time I've seen this in my business with all my clients, every time you have a really good idea that you think is going to work, that you don't vet through your clients, like, hey, would you, like, at least talking to them, you don't have to beta test everything, but running it by them, bouncing it off them, getting a finger dip in the water, it falls flat. And then you're heartbroken because you're like, I had this great idea to help you and you're not taking my help. Like, why aren't you taking my help? And this is the part of the business where it becomes not about you, right? It's about your clients. And so being able to get out of your own way is really, really important, especially when you're considering, where do you want to put your effort? Do you want to put your effort into more static self-study, just grab and go, or a group program or community or forum that's going to have a little bit more you involved and therefore a little bit higher of a price point, you know, and then be clear on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And can I just say, like, with a lot of my clients, what they're best suited to doing and what their clients really want from them is stuff that they feel like, oh no, I can't do that. I've never done that before. And it's like, well, don't let that stop you, because quite often it's just a bit of tech or it's just a bit of knowledge. Like one of the clients that's worked with Ellen, and both Ellen and I, she's a powerhouse, this woman. Like, she has created this program she's an architect. So she's created like a 30-step program if you're going to renovate, all the things that you need to think about before you go, right? So that you don't get yourself in the poo. And it's like, this course is phenomenal. I've been through it now with a fine-tooth comb because I was helping her create worksheets and, you know, but anyway, that aside, she came to me because she was like, I need to do this presentation because I've been asked by the House Builders Association or whatever, and I just don't know how to do a presentation, and I'm terrible at giving presentations. And it was all this like, I don't know, I can't. And I'm like, what are you talking about? When you talk to me about architect, about renovating, about whatever, like you can talk the leg of an iron table. What are you talking about? Of course you can do this. And she's like, no, but I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know what structure to put in. And I'm like, okay, so that's just technical stuff, right? Like, here, follow this structure. Here, follow this PowerPoint template. And then come to me, and I'm going to devil's advocate this until we get it right. We did. That workshop now, she's got something like a, 50% conversion rate from workshops?
Oh, easily.
Yeah, she'll do like a workshop that sort of takes you over an overview of the whole course and dives deep into a couple of things that people really want more information on. And then the $1,000 upgrade is to actually get the whole course and to get 2 years of support in an online forum. So every Friday she rocks up and answers questions or whatever. And it's going great guns. She's got conversion coming, like crazy conversions. And this is a woman who said, I can't do workshops.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because people assume it's like just because you never have doesn't mean you can't. Just because you don't know how now doesn't mean you will. And it's so interesting to me because we are entrepreneurs, right? All of us are in business because we were like, I give a shit. I want to change the world. I have this gift. I want more for myself, for my life. It's brave, right? It's this brave pioneer energy that has got us this far. And then all of a sudden that voice in our head kicks in and is like, oh wait, I can't. And I want to be like, are you kidding me? Like you had enough gumph and momentum to get here. Of course you can learn a new skill. And so I think that's the other piece of this too, when you're deciding what to create and how to create it, not to let the like, oh, I don't know how to podcast. Oh, I've never done that. You know, oh, I've never done a group program. How would I do that? That can't stay in your way.
It's crazy. There are professionals that help you. I mean, when I came on and people was like, you've got to get on video. I'm like, I don't know how to get on video. I've never been on video. I'm not, like I'm a photographer. I take photos. I don't want the bloody camera on me. Are you like completely nuts? That was only a couple of years ago. And look at me now. I'm doing Facebook Lives. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's a piece. Why? Because I went and talked to people. I'm like, you are a videographer and you've got a course on how to do videos. Teach me. I am putting the money down because I know that you've got the skill set and I have no idea what I'm doing. So that was them. Then I don't know. I took the training that got me there, right? So now I've got the skills and I can do it. But like, how can you do all this stuff? It's like, because I put the money down and learnt with professionals who got me there quickly. So if you want a podcast, there are people who teach you how to podcast that have been in radio journalism for 30 years. If you want to learn how to do videos, if you want to learn how to edit, the internet is like, I mean, there's e-courses everywhere. It's a matter of finding a good one. But there's ways and means to get over this skill. So if you ask your people what they need and they're saying that they want this from you and you're like, I can't do that, don't let that stop you. There's professionals that can help you. I'm living proof of this. Amelia, our undercover architect extraordinaire, she's living proof of this. She's offering things now she never thought was even humanly possible. And she is cracking it. She has a business model now where she doesn't have to think. She's got these rolling workshops. People are signing up left, right and centre. The word's getting out about what she's doing and how she's doing it. There's nothing like it in Australia.
Yeah, no, it's taken over the country. It's so exciting.
Bloody brilliant. I wanted to come over to Western Australia so I can pop a bottle of champagne with her. Anyway, it's telling us we've got 10 minutes left. That was good timing. So have you ladies got any, I know we excuse me. Have we got any questions, Janie, Avalon, or any insights or any ahas or anything that you wanted to share?
Oh, I just love it. It's very alive for me, really, and it's about, for me, shifting gears into trusting that, putting into place the pieces that I know will work. Mm-hmm. And it's also a process of letting go of the things that I thought would work that, it
maybe worked up until this point. They got you here. Right? Just because they're not the thing you want to get to the next level doesn't mean they failed or they're wrong. Yep. We're just ready for something else. And I love what you said about trust, because it's like this to me, especially for all of the wood, earth energy you have, but for everyone, it's about trusting. If I make this a la carte, if I put my thoughts in a box on a shelf, it still has value and people will still want it. And maybe not quite as much as if it's me, because no one can replace you. Like, people want your life force energy on theirs, right? Like, that's our magic, but it's still entirely useful. And I feel like it's that trust thing. People go, well, if I'm not involved, would people hire me? Like, would people buy if I'm not involved? And that's it's a big vulnerability that we all have. And I think Maria's on the other side of it being like, yes, they will.
And you know, look, Avalon, and you can talk to, Janie's just said, I think I just need to go away and digest. There's so much in this. And she's just got other people in the office, so she doesn't want to come on and chat. But we hear you, Janie. I get it. Like, it is. There's a lot to think about. And Janie was there when I literally was in tears, just going, what have I done? I have created this social media dependent business that I cannot stand. All of my time is getting sucked into these groups that are not bringing me anything. Like, what have I done? And it was a real breakthrough point. You know, like, you've got to trust that the tears and the emotion and everything that came with that was like, this is not on path for you now anymore. You've done what you needed to do. You've dipped your toe in it. It doesn't work for you. You know that it doesn't work. Like, it has worked up to this point. Like, it's served its purpose, but now it's time to move into the next stage. And there's no shame in that. And I felt very shamed going, you know, I've said I'm doing all these online offerings. I'm doing this online e-course, you know, lifetime access to my e-course. And then it's like, actually, no, I don't want to offer that anymore. You know, there's no shame in it. It's so many of my clients come to me in the same position, Avalon. Like, don't feel like you're, sorry, don't feel special, Avalon. You're not. No, I'm joking. But, you know, your situation.
I say that to my clients too.
Yeah, it's so similar. I get people coming to me all the time going, I can't do this anymore. You need to help. I hear that you can help me create a product. Like, help me, because I can't keep doing what I'm doing. It's just not supporting me anymore. So, yeah, trust that those feelings are right. And trust.
Well, especially when there are people going, oh, I love this. I can't believe you're not going to do it anymore. And there's that earth part that just wants to keep giving the thing that I was giving. Yeah. And then I'm just, you know, burning out. Yeah. And I know what my next steps are, but it's still a transition to go, right, I was doing it that way. Yes. And I've got a great vision for next year. Yeah. And I need to let go of the things that, you know.
And you will still be giving, you know, this is the thing, right? You will still be giving. It'll just be in a different form. And if people follow you and still want to work with you, they will follow you. They will find you, you know, like I think I get clients like that all the time, but I've always offered this thing and it's like, yeah, but is it serving you? Or no, well, it's sucking my time. Okay. So is that how you want to do? Like, are you doing this because you feel like you're going to be the asshole if you stop giving it? Yes. Okay. Well then, who's the asshole then? Then you're punishing yourself for the sake of trying to keep other people happy. And I don't know, been there, done that.
Which is classic Earth. I just want to say that that's such an Earth frequency way, you know, and that's the lesson, is how to put yourself first, and knowing that if you take care of yourself, you will have more to give.
Yeah.
You know,
point blank, right? Trust, Avalon. Trust, it's all there. There's people who can help you if you need. Reach out, you know. And I guess, look, it is telling us we've got about 5 minutes left. But I guess at this point, look, Ellen and I deal with these people all the time. The reason that we wanted to come on and have this conversation is, I guess, just to blow apart this myth that there's one size that fits all. Blow apart this myth that, you know, an e-course is going to be the holy grail to a passive income and you're going to be sipping pina coladas on a beach in Thailand. I think we've done that. I think we've gone through all the different options that you can do, that you can, you know, how you can leverage your time and energy and expertise. It doesn't have to be in a single product. It could be in a combination of products. But whatever that combination is, it's got to be in line with what's in here, and also which stage in business you're at. Like, if you've been trying to build a following to get to the point where you can get rid of a lot of the stuff that's been time-sucking, which is what I feel my journey was. It was like, I need to be across enough places so enough people know about me to get the groundswell of clients, so that word can get out about what it is that I do. And then I can relax into a different way of delivering my services. And I guess now that I'm doing this is what I'm helping other people do as well. So Ellen and I work with people like you all the time. Underneath this, there's a button there that takes you through about how to work with us if you feel called to work with us. Neither Ellen nor I are the sort of people who are going to spend the next half an hour selling you what we do, because we are who we are, we do what we do, and the people who are attracted to us, they come and meet us. Now, we have put together a combo deal working with us, because we just find that so many people that work with me really need to work with Ellen first. And so many people that work with Ellen, she's like, right, well, if you're going to go and create a product, then go and do it properly. Go and talk to Maria and she'll help you how to create a quality learning experience, because that's what I do. So we have put together like a little combo deal. There's a group version study, which we're going to offer next year. And there's a one-to-one version, obviously, where it's just you and me, us three, but intensively. Yeah, us three. Yeah, so intensively, like we deal with you and your situation. We make sure that your next step is going to be something in alignment with here and your business stage, and then that the product is actually quality. So we're not going to go on and on about it. There's a link there. It's called the Business Accelerator. It's going to be on my website, Ellen's website. All the links will be there. So if it interests you on what we've got to offer, go and have a read. There's links to talk to either of us. So if you'd like to prefer to talk to Ellen about it or prefer to talk to me about it, just hit us up. We're both happy to have a chat with you, and all the links are there. So yeah, hopefully if anyone does feel called to further explore it, we're here. This is what we love doing. This is why we do it, because it lights us up. This is the work that lights us up. And that's why, I don't know about you, Ellen, but I was talking to someone the other day about how blessed I am to be doing the work that I'm doing. And I really do. When I listen to other people going, oh, my job, this stuff, I'm just like, I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to do what I do.
I can't not do this work. I cannot not do this work. I love it so much. And it makes such a difference, especially for women business owners, to get out, to have this help and support, and then to get on their way so that they can have their work more widely known in the world and they can make more money. Like this to me, like this is world changing stuff. And it is an honor. And I just, love working with Maria. It's always so fun to connect and play off each other and just play in a way that changes lives is my favorite thing. So I can see the timer counting down, and it's kind of like stressing me out. We've got like 2 minutes left here.
It's going to explode.
I know. I'm like, oh, what have we done before then?
Oh my God.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for hanging in here and for listening either on the replay or live with us. And I'm super available on social media or via my website to continue these conversations, either about frequency or business stuff. That's all the same to me. And I would love to hear from you. This is amazing.
Yeah. So look, even our hashtags love each other. Ellen is Showcase Your Shine. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God, did I get that right?
No, that's it. Showcase your shine.
Showcase your shine so that you can, create real change in the world. And really that is what we do. We help you work out what you should be doing so that you can shine through. And when you do, you create real change in the world. And that is why we love doing what we're doing. Okay, it's telling me less than a minute, so we're going to have to pick it off. Thank you for coming. Love you.
Thanks, everybody. Be well. Bye.
Awesome to have you. See ya. Bye.